Hey guys, Tucker here from BricksForThought. Today I'm going to be doing a comparison video of not two, not three, but four Y-Wings. The Y-Wing Starfighter is my favorite ship, and so I have quite a few of them, and I'm going to be comparing them. I'm going to do a generic stuff right now, and then I'm going to go and talk about the individual details, and I'm going to bring it back in and overall compare them. I'm going to be comparing playability and the actual model. Like, I won't be touching minifigures as much because I don't have the minifigures for those two because I bought those sets used, but I have a brief idea of the minifigures that came with that set are. But so left to right respectively, we have the Wildling Fighter from 2007. It's set number 7658. Two minifigures, 454 pieces for $40 US at the time of release. Obviously, that's pretty old. Moving on down, we got the Gold Leaders Y-Wing Starfighter from 2012, set number 9495, 458 pieces for $50, and came with 3 minifigures. And down to the most recent one, this is the Y-Wing Starfighter. This is the more recent one from 2016, part of the Rogue One Star Wars set wave. It's got 691 pieces, selling for about $60 US, comes with 5 minifigures, and is set number 75172. And this is a little bit different, but it's still a Y-Wing, and I'm just going to explain like the brief history of it, because this is my favorite Star Wars ship. But this is Anakin's Y-Wing Starfighter from the Clone Wars, came out in 2009, set number 8037, 570 pieces, and 3 minifigures going for $60 US. So I'm going to be going in and reviewing, having a brief overview of the features and whatnot of the individual sets. I'm going to start it with the 2007 one. Let's jump in. Okay, so the 2007 one, I do apologize, but I had to make some part substitutions because I did buy the set used. Not all the pieces were here, but I'm just going to point those out now. The missiles is an axle with a cone, a transparent cone piece. This should be neon green, not just normal green. Oh, let me get that back in there. There we go. These big round parts right here, and I also put it on the other side because it was symmetrical. There was only one gray piece included. That should be there, but since there was only one, I decided to substitute it out to black to make it symmetrical. It doesn't take away too much from it, although, you know. Moving on the back, that piece right there, and then the piece on the other side right there, that should be white, but I didn't have that either. I'll probably get some parts from Bricklink or something. But this is the 2007 model. There is the rotatable turret that does go up and down, as a matter of fact. Well, this is the only one that can rotate at 360 degrees. The other two of them can rotate side to side, and the Clone Wars one only rotates up and down. But this is the whole thing, although it does vibrate a lot. Like, this was on my nightstand where I have a fan, and whenever the fan would turn, it would shake this and make a racket. It does kind of get caught a little bit because the clips do hang over. They spin over a bit onto the tile, but that's alright. These parts do tend to break off, unfortunately. But we have the classic windscreen that is a print that opens up. No tiles on the inside. They have the tunnel run printed 2x2 slope that is printed. That's the only printed part in this entire set, and there's no stickers. That's kind of cool. There is a slot right here. If you really want to, you could put a blaster. We're closing that down if you did flip the ship over. Oh, they would just fly around everywhere. The blaster tips are just some cone pieces with a white axle running through. Moving on down, we got the Astromech slot that is sitting on the wrong axis. It should be sitting this way. Although, for such a small play scale ship, they did Lego. I think Lego did the best that they could. That's alright. Just got some 2 jumpers down there. The bottom of this thing is just completely flat except for the 2 landing gear inverted slope bricks, and then the sides just kind of sit on the wings themselves. If you look at the wings, I'll just look at the wings, that part should be hollow on the actual model, but it's not. That doesn't take away too much. I think Lego did the best that they could for the amount of parts they had available at the time. but you got the inverted kind of larger cone piece, and with the hollow thing with the engine kind of transparent discs going through. But if you look at it, this isn't completely circular. There's got some brickwork, which is cool. The other sets do not, they don't have that. The rest of this is just made out of an axle connected with some Technic bindings. Looking at the back, there is a bomb dropping feature, which I will get to when I look at all the features. Same thing on the wings. I really do. This has the most greebling out of all the sets, like just the most pieces. But these are relatively small. There's only 2 bar pieces, which is kind of unfortunate. But I'm okay with that. Looking at the features, there are missiles included with the set as well as bombs. I'll show you the missile. Like I already did, just an axle with a cone piece on it. Although it does have a tendency to fall out, which I will demonstrate afterwards. But in theory, it's because it sticks out in the back. Just push that, and just the bomb goes shooting out. That fell quite a ways away. I'm not going to get that. And then the bombs you load in here are just the Technic ball end pieces that come in neon green. Although I don't have that, didn't come with the set, so I had to use my own. But so in theory, you'd pull this out, and the bombs would drop. I'll set you guys down. Oops. Oh, that didn't work. Alright, here we are. I forgot my phone was, my iPod was plugged in. It has a very bad battery life. But so, anyways, you pull this out, and out go the Technic ball ends that are supposed to be your mine. I'm just trying to get all of these because I want to demonstrate something. Although this is, nostalgia purposes, many people might like this set. But as a play model, this is probably not the best out of all of them. My point being, so it is swooshable, right? But let's say you want to make it like go up and then kind of come back down. No, well that didn't do it that time, but if you flip it over, the mines will fall out, and as if you saw, the one other missile will come shooting out because nothing is held in. It's all just free floating, so if you tilt it around, it might want to fall out. The minifigures included are the Dutch Vander in the yellow skin. This is the last version that he's in yellow. And then just a red standard R2 Astromech unit. That's your 2007. Let's check out the 2012. Alright, so I have a bit of a confession to make. I was rewatching the 2007 Y-Wing video, and these are not wings, these are engines. These are 2 engine pods. My bad, I completely butchered that over and over and over again. Quite frankly, I don't know why it's called a Y-Wing, because there's no wings on this thing. But, and I was also wondering, for any Star Wars fans out there, how does this thing move up and down? Because there's no rudder sort of things, there's no parts that move. This is all one stationary fixed thing. These engines are fixed. How does this thing move up and down? And how does this thing, well, probably steers by diverting power to the different motors, engines, either one or the other, and power levels. But how does this thing actually move? I wanted to apologize for butchering that. But anyways, this is the 2012. This is Gold Leader's Wildling Starfighter. The minifigures included with this set, there are 3. Gold Leader in a flesh color, first time getting that. A R5 Astromech Droid, the yellow one. I really wish I got that. I think those are cooler, quite frankly, better looking than the R2 units. And then Princess Leia in the ceremonial outfit after Episode 4 when they blow up the Death Star and Han and Luke get those medals, blah, 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 blah. Han Solo and Luke did appear in 2 other Lego books in their ceremonial outfits, so if you got all 3 of those, you can kind of make like your own little mocks of ceremonial outfits. If you do have one, drop it in the comments below, drop a link to it with some photos. I'd love to see that. But it doesn't really make sense because I believe Dutch Vander dies in Episode 4 during the tunnel run. So it doesn't make sense that Princess Leia in an event after that event happened. So, I don't know, that kind of intrigued me a bit. But anyway, so looking at this, the turret is now a Technic piece with some flick-fire missiles sticking into it. Let me just refocus this. There. In the actual ship, I like that they did this, it's a start. But the cockpit, after it hinges, it goes all the way back. Like, it goes further back with some windows, so the trans 1x2 plates, two of them stacked on top of each other, kind of hint at that, which is nice. It kind of creates a sense of that's happening. Nice, more realistic cockpit, not as pointed. They got some angled plates as well as some snot tiles. Studs not on top, that's what snot stands for. Running along the side. Sorry, I'm going fast. I just want to cover all these in like a not hour-long video. But the Astromech Droid slot right there. Astromech sits right there. Some stuff going along the side. And that's actually a car chassis piece. Like a Lego City car chassis piece that the Astromech sits in. That's pretty cool. Looking at the bottom, other than that, the whole thing's pretty flat, except for some inverted round tiles. Just kind of holding it together. And the 2x3 inverted slope bricks with the 1x2 tan plate on the bottom as like landing gear, although kind of wish they did change some things up. But moving on down, they got the bomb loading thing. Rather than having bombs, it's a 1x1 gray cylindrical block with a red 1x1 cone piece on top of it. It's a nice upgrade than the Technic ball ends, because they don't go flying everywhere. They won't bounce everywhere whenever that mechanism is activated, which I'll show in a minute. But a lot more bars, not as much stuff, like tiny pieces, but a lot more bars. I like that. Rather than having a plate, they used a tiny wheel. Looking around the back, the bomb mechanism is not actually activated in the back, which I was really confused on how it was made when I was building, because I believe you build this first. But this back end looks very nice. There are axles sticking out, but rather than them flying around everywhere, they stay in place because the tips are flick fire missiles, which are activated. You just push that in. If you push it really hard, it goes a lot farther. If you experiment with flick fire missiles, I'm not a bad shot at them, but they go pretty far. I like it. It's a good upgrade. Actually, all these Y-Wings have a different form of firing mechanisms. Looking at the engine pods, no more golf ball textured ends. The 2007 one had the older golf ball textured ends, but this is all smooth. Moving on down, they, instead of using connecting the axles to a pin, they have kind of a clip running through that attaches to one of these like kind of spider web type pieces. Goes and then repeats again down there. Stickered. These are two like half cylinder pieces, one on that side, one on this side. For this part right here, that is a stickered piece. Unfortunately, those are the only two stickered parts, and then the cockpit is the same tunnel run orange printed piece as the last Y-Wing. Looking on down, the engine part is exposed. It's not tucked in. Rather than going for the round thing, they have a 4-vein sort of cylinder, which is okay. And then same white piece for the end, although they try to put a dark gray tile there to kind of look like it's a kind of empty space. I mean, that's okay. It's a nice gesture. And then kind of they hint at the veins in the back. Same thing going there. Looking at the bomb mechanism though, because there's nothing on the back. Oops, I kind of got all the wings in here except for the Clone Wars. Actually, no, the Clone Wars one is held on there too. They're all held by Technic pins. But looking at the underside, the bomb mechanism is actually this whole Shannon. Yeah, see, that's also a problem with this one. The bombs will drop out if you hold it upside down. But that's what they look like. Yay, you get two of them. One just kind of rolled off my shelf. But this is the bomb mechanism. It's a 2x3 tile with a hinge on it with a snot bracket, and you'll be flying and just pull that down and the bombs fall out. I will demonstrate that with the one that I have. Oops. Ta-da! That's interesting. I was not expecting that. This is the latest one that I have built. I got the Clone Wars Y-Wing from my friend, but this is the latest one I've gotten, and that was really interesting. I'm like, hold on, this is not your ordinary Joe bombing mechanism. But anyways, I spent like 7 minutes on this. I'm going to move on to the next one, the latest 2016 model. Okay, so this is the 2016 Y-Wing. Just a lot of stuff happening here. Like I said, each Y-Wing has its own different thing of firing, but I'll get to that in a minute. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take you down a level. Look at that! Landing gear! Woo! Finally, it's about time. Flipping it over, a lot more detail on the back. Those are retractable. And underneath you got spring-loaded shooters. That's a nice upgrade. I'm not going to fire them because those go everywhere. But looking at the front, some more slopes. It's not as plated. It doesn't have as many studs on it, which is nice. I'm just going to refocus. There we go. Same sort of thing, turret as on top, except it's got one of the blue half axle, half stud pins, so it does create a lot more friction, so it's not hanging around everywhere. Like right now, you really got to push it in order to get it to move. A different style of printed cockpit. Oopsies. That didn't happen. Ah, there we go. Yeah, you gotta, with all these, you gotta turn the turret to the side in order to open. But looking inside, that's pretty luxurious. That is a printed piece. It's a printed console. I mean, it's nice, but oh man, it's not printed. It's a sticker. It's a sticker. That's unfortunate. I really wish they did some sort of printed thing. I'm sure they have enough printed cockpits. They could have thrown one in. But anyways, coming down here, asteroid compartment, still using the car chassis piece. These are actually battle droid bodies, blue-gray, bluish-gray, battle droid pieces. That's pretty cool. Some more axles. A lot more, because the spring-loaded shooters are up at the cockpit. Supposed to simulate fire from the blaster tips. They're able to put some more detail here. These are actually narrower, and these parts right here, these little segments, they're smaller than the other ones because the designers were able to do that. I like that. Looking at the back, a little bit more realistic. There is a bomb deploying, not a push out thing or a push in or pull out sort of thing. It's a gear. You spin it, which I'll get to. But overall, a lot more bars. And I don't know. I don't really like the Greebling is a lot better, but there's something I just don't like about it. Like, there's just too many big pieces. Just it takes too much space. Like, there's a lot of texture here, but not as much as, say, the 2007 one. I mean, I don't know. Just there's a lot more bars and stuff. There's more stuff, I think, but I'm pretty mixed about that. There are stickers on both sides of the engine pods. Same thing for the dome, smooth. Got the clips with the spiderweb pieces going down here. The vanes, this is probably the better style of engine out of all of them. They have the, let me just get it, sorry, my hand's in the light. They're the ice skates, minifig scale ice skates attached to a 1x1 clip, and they just fold down on the engine to create some vanes, which that's nice. The engine is exposed, like the engine color, and these are rings. Look, they're rings! Yay! When I got this thing for Christmas, I was like, oh my gosh, what an upgrade! Because I hadn't gotten a Y-Wing since when I was so little, and I got this. Again, I got the 2007 one. I was like, oh my gosh, this thing is so much more better. But I still have some mixed feelings about this kind of, just because of the detailing. But the cockpit is extended a little bit more. The still amount of trans pieces, but it's in like a trans gray. But this is moved a bit back. I like that. But let me just get a stand so I can show you the bomb mechanism. I'm just going to take the bombs out. And by the way, the piece count is so large. Oops. Let me just get the bomb before it rolls off. They are... Man, I'm dropping stuff all over the place. Sorry. But this is the bomb. It's longer than the 2012 one. But the piece count is so large because it comes with a little crane, maintenance crane sort of thing. That's kind of cool. It does come with 2 extra spring-loaded shooters and 2 more ammo, 2 more bombs. So you're going to have a little bit more payload. I don't think you're going to lose them, but you know. But so it's kind of hard to see. Oh man, I don't know how I'm going to show this. But if you look at it, kind of, it's kind of hard. You know, I'll take some stuff off. Alright, so I pried the thing open, and so when you turn the gear, it actually spins this whole little, like these Technic gear sort of pieces, and it kind of goes around and ends up deploying out of the bottom. It's kind of this whole cycle thing. And so what you do is, there's the bomb slot, but I'm going to leave it off. But so you'd place it in there, you'd rotate it around, you can place a second one, and so to deploy the bombs, because it kind of locks, what's nice is that if you leave it a certain way, they can't come out. So no matter what you do, okay, but I've gotten it to be able to fit all 4 bombs, and they would not fall out at all, which is quite miraculous. And so overall, nothing moves on this. Nothing. The spring-loaded shooters don't come out unless you activate them. The bomb system. This is probably the best play model out of all of these. But so to deploy them, you just spin it, and then when it rotates to the point where it opens up, they just fall out. That is ingenious. I'm just gonna put that, all the stuff I tried. Alright, so I did it. Fixed it. Everything's good. But so I just put all 4 bombs, and so if you really wanted to, if you can kind of swoosh it in, boom, this is the most amount of stuff that has come in a Y-Wing, but I like this a lot. It does come with 5 minifigures and a Astromech Droid with a transparent head, so, I mean, the minifigures don't harm this thing at all, although it is, I think it has the biggest piece count, probably just because of that extra maintenance crane. But that's the 2016 one. I'm going to take a step back to 2009 with the Clone Wars Y-Wing. Okay, this is a bit of a change, wouldn't you say? This is the Clone Wars version of the Y-Wing. So the history behind this is that this was used in the Clone Wars, and then eventually the Rebels intercepted the plans from the Imperials, I believe. And so, but I mean, because this is a very old ship dating back to like the Republican era, not the Republican, the old Republic. This isn't the U.S. here. I don't think they had democracy in the galaxy at the time, but just because it was so old, and the Rebel forces wanted to lighten it up and increase the payload, and just because it was such an old ship, it would break so much, and so they ended up having to take a lot of the armor off anyway. So they're just like, let's just leave it off. And so, lo and behold, they took all the stuff off, and here you are with the Y-Wing we see in the original trilogy today. But this still has the same features. It is a bomber, the Y-Wing bomber. The older models, a specific model of the Starship did have a secondary cockpit before they became controlled by like a military officer back at the base. That's how all the other cockpits on top of those other Starship models that I already looked at are designed. But this actually can hold a minifigure. This whole thing just kind of pops off. Place it in there. And it has a console piece. Let me just refocus that. Yeah. And the it goes up and down. I believe it might, I think it swivels in the TV show. I could be wrong, but that's okay. I mean, it works. Different style of printing. It's yellow on the cockpit. The inside is, I guess, pretty cush. It has a kind of like a sloped piece of the same type of printed console, and so it is foldable up, so like you can put the minifigure in and then kind of fold it over his lap. The front is nice. It seems a bit wider the way it ends. Actually, no, it sits the same width, but definitely a lot more slope piece. The gun. This is the longest ship out of all of them, probably just because the guns go out a bit. But taking a look down, it's all very gradual. I'll hold it up. Almost doesn't look like a Y. Yeah, I just turned the camera sideways, but that's how I could fit it all on camera. a lot of just stuff going along the side. The engines are completely solid all the way through, no gap. And then the end. The Republic insignia, I think that's how you say it, is a sticker there, and same on the other side. I believe that's the only stickers that comes with this set. And the engines have the, get that in the light, the transparent pieces. A lot more decoration. This isn't just an axle. I like that. Looking at the back, you get these slope pieces, which I guess is supposed to resemble, like if you look at it from the side, like it going all the way down. You know, I really wish they put it on the inside brick, like they put some snot stuff on there. But, I mean, I'm pretty sure that's a Technic beam used to hold this on, because this is attached by Technic pins. So I guess that's not too bad. I mean, this ship obviously has the most greebling out of all the ships. This one little tiny strip right here. I'm just kidding about that. But this folds open, and it's supposedly, as the set description says, a lightsaber compartment. It's nice that they have a storage compartment. I believe the last storage one they had was the very first Y-Wing. The Y-Wing before the 2006 one was like a 1999 or something like that. It had a little storage box and an opening compartment. But that's the Astromech slot. What? What is that? Well, I'll just grab the Rogue One thing because I just built the set. It was in storage, but I just built it the other day, and so I have the stuff lying around. This is the Astromech Droid from the Y-Wing Starfighter from the 2016 model. But so, and they do have a third wheel. I always wanted to figure out how to make a third wheel on this thing. Like the third drive motor for the Lego Astromech Droids. I was so unsuccessful as a kid. If you have a way, I'd love to know. But that is an axle hole, so that sits on there. And this is probably I want to say the most realistic out of all of them, the fire mechanisms. Actually, no, I don't really want to say that, because the other simulate blaster cannon fire, this simulates like an actual bomb, because like it goes the one episode with the Y-Wings, they have like a bombing ready against the I'm gonna butcher the word, the malevolence. But and lo and behold, different type of fire mechanism, a Technic Cannon. And there is this bracket thing. I don't know if that was there. I haven't looked at the instructions for this thing yet, because my friend did give this to me. No instructions came with it. I don't know if that's there or not. Supposed to be, but it kind of balances out the weight. But that axle thing is sitting right on top of the trigger to that Technic Cannon, and so I'm gonna. Oh, that's kind of dark. That's not gonna work. But you pull the Astromech Droid back. Woo! Shoots out. And the Technic Cannons, in my opinion, are my favorite kind of firing mechanism. Like, not firing mechanism, but like type of ammunition. I'm just going to reload this. In general. The spring shooters, they shoot out far, but they get lost. And quite frankly, they're not that realistic. Because their flight path, they're very even. So when you shoot them, they just kind of fall like that. But these are weighted at the end, so if you shoot it at like kind of like an upwards angle, gravity will, and so it's kind of more realistic, I guess. But then again, there's no gravity in space. I don't know. That's just personally my favorite. But I think that's a very cool feature. There's no like there's no like axles sticking out the back or anything like that. The minifigures that are included is Anakin Skywalker Clone Wars version, Ahsoka Tano. Although I've heard that like you have to lift this thing up, the cockpit up a bit in order to fit Ahsoka in there. But, you know, that's okay. Well, this set is old. I have, like, dust rings going around this thing. Then this was apparently sitting in his basement for a while. But, and then the R2 unit in the, at the time, the new Clone Wars style with the darkened head. But just, I'll take you on another view. So it looks like from the back. Oh, yeah, so this thing, I don't know if it's the bubble cockpit is supposed to sit that far up above the normal cockpit, but the other Y-Wings, I'll grab the other one. I'll show you a front view of it. I don't know, that's kind of intimidating-ish. And then let me show you the front view of the Clone Wars version. Ooh. I can hear the James Taylor song, "Baby, It's Not the Way You Look" playing right now. This thing is like, what? That's how it looks? I don't know, because the Technic Cannon, there's so much stuff underneath that. I kind of really don't like that, and it's all flat here, the rest of this stuff. And then the bubble cockpit just makes it so high, it's like, baby, is that the way you look? But, I don't know, that's my thought. I do think it's cool. I always wanted to get this set, mainly because it is a Y-Wing, and I love the Y-Wing, and this is kind of the Rebel Alliance era Y-Wing, so it's like a nice history kind of statement to me. But I spent enough time on this. Let's take a look at all of them, and I will make my final decision of which one I think you should invest your hard-earned money for. Alright, so I narrowed it down to two. The 2012 one and the 2016 version. I don't like the other two, mainly because the only feature for the Clone Wars one is the cannon, and just I don't really like some of the stuff going along the side. And for the 2007 one, 2007, my bad, all the action features have a tendency to just fall apart on you, kind of, and which is kind of a shame. But overall, bringing it back together, I'm gonna put it this way, because I like both of them, but overall as a set, including the side builds and the minifigures, I'd have to say the 2016 one, just because it has a lot more minifigures and the side build, and just kind of really buffs the piece count, I guess. It's got spring-loaded shooters, a lot of modernized kind of parts to it. But if you're gonna go by just the Starfighter itself, I'm gonna go with this one. I'm going to say this is my favorite because the cockpit is very nicely detailed. And it's got the printed tunnel run console piece, which is very nice. I love that piece a lot, and it's not a sticker like the console with that one, which is kind of a shame. Both of them use the chassis piece. I'm going to give kudos to this one because the designer who first used this didn't base it off anything, and it's such a great idea. I love it. Only 2 stickers on the entire set, and I like these ones are a lot more detailed than those. I like that a lot. The engines, this is for me, but it's really not too bad. I like the action features. The bomb dropping mechanism is truly a unique thing, and it really had me guessing right until the end where I actually built it. So you can actually have a lot of decoration in the back, although there is on the other Y-Wing, but there's that black knob that sticks out. The flick-fire missiles, personally, I love flick-fire missiles, and I'm relatively good with them. Someone who's maybe not the best of them might want to go with the spring shooters, but personally I don't really like spring shooters. They kind of go everywhere. I mean, kind of the same with the stud shooters, and I mean, this is one of the better models where they're hidden away. But, I mean, this has landing gear. I mean, this really doesn't. But so many new things were introduced in this. Like the thought of bars, the car chassis. This cannon was first introduced in this portion. I really do like the bars. I like the greebling on here. It's not as intensive as some of that. But it's a lot, in my opinion, a lot nicer than the 2016 one. Because the 2016 one just uses a lot of big parts, and I'm kind of iffy about that. But whereas here there is some small pieces, but there's a lot of bars, and quite frankly I kind of like the bars. I especially like how the bar kind of goes into that slope kind of area, so it looks like the bar is going into the ship. I personally like that a lot. And I'm gonna throw in the Astromech Droid. I don't really count the Astromech Droid as a minifigure, although technically it is, but I consider it more as part of the ship, because you never really see, unless it's like in a hangar, but whenever it's flying, there's always an Astromech in it. There's also always a pilot in it, but you don't really see the pilot as much. But this is the Astromech Droid from the 2016 model. Let me just refocus that. It doesn't make sense. It's got a transparent head. I mean, sure, it's nice, but quite frankly, the Astromech Droid that came with the 2012 one was a yellow R5 or R3 unit, whichever one it was. but I like those a lot better than the classic R2s, and this doesn't really make any sense. Plus, I believe the body and legs of this thing are two different shades. This is a chrome, this is a dark gray with chrome kind of like printing on it, which doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. But that's my thoughts. I think personally, if you wanted to go out and buy a set, I'd go out with the 2016 one just because of the more parts, more minifigures, kind of just more modernized, just more modern building techniques and pieces. But if you're really just trying to make like a mock, or you just want a ship to put on display, I'd get this one. I mean, I don't have the minifigures to this set. I only have this, and I'm a lot more happy with it. As a ship, I think it's a great combination between the older one, which I'm much more familiar with and go pretty far back with, and then the modern one with all of its new techniques and stuff. That's my opinion. Those are my personal opinions. Feel free to leave your own. I'd love to see what you guys are thinking. Maybe it turns into a friendly debate. But that concludes my Y-Wing comparison video. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is definitely a longer video out there. Make sure to pop a comment below, and I can't wait to get to you guys next week. This is Tucker from BricksForThought, signing out.